Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of Fireside Chat. I'm Danielle, and I'm your host for today. Guys, I have a great episode for you. In this episode, I am going to interview my friend Stephanie. She is an all-star director and does a lot of the operations at her gym. She's also a former cheer mom.
Super mom, trying to juggle it all.
So when she sent me a message and said, hey, I'm going to be in town, first of all, I was like, well, why the heck are you going to be in the middle of Missouri? Because nobody comes to the middle of Missouri on vacation, except maybe Branson. But secondly, I was like, we've got to get you on the podcast. So guys, brace yourselves. We've got some great stuff talking about what do parents wish that coaches knew, what do coaches wish parents knew, because she's got some excellent perspective from both sides. So have a listen and enjoy the episode. Okay, Stephanie, so tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your role? What do you do at your gym?
Yeah, so I'm a jack of all trades, kind of, but mainly I am the all-star director at my gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does a day look like, a day in the life of Stephanie?
Oh, yeah. After I drop off my kids to school and get them all ready, it's usually email time. So I dig into my emails, make sure that everything's been answered and see what problems or issues I have. And then depending on the day, I'll have meetings. If I'm hiring, Tuesday's kind of my hiring day where interviews come in, whether it's Ninja or All-Star coaching, I do that. Wednesday's more my staff meetings. So we have big staff meetings, and then I have my staff meetings with my coaches. So it kind of just depends on my day. And then obviously our days start around 4 o'clock where all of our classes and our teams start coming in the gym.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you weren't always an all-star director.
Nope.
Before that, you were a cheer mom.
I was a proud cheer mom for about 10 years in the all-star world. My daughter was at a D2 gym for about 4 to 5 years. And then she felt like she kind of outgrew it and decided to go to another gym. Mm-hmm. And we had wonderful experiences. We had the highs and we had the lows through all of it. And it was a great just experience for me to learn the cheer world, building relationships with the moms and having those friends. And then watching my daughter grow just as a girl, as an athlete, as a teammate, as a leader. This sport just can be so valuable as they continue to grow in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that transition for you, what did it look like? Were you just like, I see an all-star director position, I'm going to apply for it?
No, not at all. God just opened some doors where I had been friends with some of the owners, and they asked me to come over, and it was every time I opened my mouth with ideas or thoughts, I kept getting pulled in until this opportunity kind of just presented itself, and I thought I would jump 2 feet in and try it out.
Yeah. So I think in the industry, sometimes it's taboo to think like hiring parents in the gym. But I will tell you, I'm actually a big fan of moms who are directors or start gyms. I actually am a fan of moms who are coaching, like coach too, because I think that they see it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
They know what happens when the kids go home at the end of the night. And they know what needs to happen in the gym so that happy kids are going home at the end of the night.
Yeah, and I think more so of they're bought in, right? They love your gym. They want to be a part of your gym. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is having people love your business like you do is a rare find. And so just having those people in your gym that their kids happy, they love the gym, they love your mission and what you're trying to do, I think can be more valuable than if you just hire someone off the street that's just, this is what I do and this is another gym and how can I grow and learn and then move on to something else bigger and better.
Yeah. So having been in that role as a mom before you did, the director thing and worked in the gym, what do you wish you could have said to coaches, or what do you wish coaches had known at the time?
So good. As a parent, right, is just taking that time, right, with the athlete and trying to help them understand. I think coaches are so busy and goal-oriented. And I really feel like coaches are just like teachers, right? They need to learn their class. They need to learn who they are and how they can motivate them and how they can talk to them. And so I think if coaches could talk to athletes and understand who they are, I think you would just get so much more out of them than looking at them as a whole, right? And what they look at as a whole and what we need to accomplish, what we need to get. If they can just stop and try to figure out who that kid is and how to motivate them, I think they'd get so much more out of them.
Yeah, my favorite thing to honestly do, and I wasn't this coach before I had kids, but now that I have kids, my favorite thing to do is actually go to the parent and say, so here's what I'm seeing with her. How do I do this better?
Yeah.
Like, how do I motivate her better from your perspective? Or how do I get her to do this thing that I've asked her to do at home?
So true.
Because nobody knows their kids better than the parents do.
Absolutely. Partnering with parents is so important. I love talking to the parents, especially our new families, and getting to know the dynamics of it because it helps you understand how the kid's going to work, right? Do they go to mom and dad's house? Are they going to forget their shoes? Do they go to long days of school and so they're running straight in and they just don't have time to focus? It's so important to getting to know your kids so that you can have a successful season.
I agree. And I also think a lot of times, as a coach, you're so focused on the mission of just coaching. That kid walks in 2 minutes late or 3 minutes late and you're kind of annoyed. But if you know their life a little bit, that like mom gets off work at 4:30, practices at 5, she's got to go pick the kids up, then get them over at practice. Like there's just a little bit more compassion that like this is real life.
Yeah. Or you have the exact opposite, right? Where you have that compassion and then you let the athlete off a little bit because you feel so bad and then they take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
I think that's a hard line. Sometimes that coaches can struggle with knowing where that line is and not going too hard or too soft on an athlete.
Yeah. So for those who are listening, we actually went over and toured the gym and I was telling Stephanie about the clocks that we have because they are the same clocks that we have in like the same type of clock, big LED numbers, super easy to see.
Easy to read.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how my policy is that if a child is late and they've driven themselves, well, you probably have some conditioning at the end of practice because you need to better manage your time. However, if a child is late and the parent has driven them, usually I'll go to mom and say, was it you or her? Totally okay. I just need to know.
Yeah.
And if it's mom, I get it. Like, we're moms. Yeah. Like sometimes you have, you get stuck at work or whatever it is. Like moms don't get punished for that. They're maybe after a whole bunch of times you're like, hey mom, please. She really needs the warm up. But I have a lot of moms that'll say, nope, it was her. I was sitting in the car waiting and I'm like, excellent. She's going to condition today because we're going to help you and partner together.
Yeah, absolutely. Having those rules. And we have an athlete contract and that's part of it, right? If they're late, then they're doing push-ups, they're running bear crawls, whatever they need to do. So it's absolutely good for them to understand what the rules are.
Yeah. Well, and it's life's lesson. Like I've known people that have gotten, they've worked at a job and they've been late 3 times within 90 days and they don't have a job anymore.
Absolutely. Learning those life lessons, youth sports, such a great place for them to learn outside skills as well, not just about their sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at this from the other side. So we just talked about as a mom, what do you wish coaches knew? As a director, what do you wish parents knew?
Oh, I think it's so hard because I don't know a gym that doesn't say trust the process.
Yeah.
And I think that is so difficult, especially during tryout season. Or when a routine gets switched around and you have those highly emotional kids, those preteen girls that are exhausted. They just went through 2 hours of practice. Something got switched and all the parents hear is the bad, right? Yeah. Not the hour and a half of good practice and all the exciting things. It's the one thing that didn't go well for them. Yep. And so trusting that process, trusting your coaches that we have your kids' well-being and we're going to take care of it. We know the bigger picture. Those emotions just clear out everything. Parents can't think, athletes can't think, and then the coaches and I hear about it.
Yeah. I've tried something new on my Youth 2 team this year. The other coach and I will actually do shout outs on the Facebook page, like the team's Facebook page at the end of practice. And we shout out 2 or 3 athletes who we thought did a really amazing job. And our goal is, I hope you hear something good from me about your child before you ever have to hear something bad.
Yeah. Absolutely. So our coaches every single week need to post on their band and just let parents know what's going on, right? How practices are going, what we're working on, and things that are going well, so that our parents have something else besides just what their athletes are saying to go off of, right? To ask those questions in the car, get involved with them and what's going on, but also have our perspective and what we're working on, not just what the athlete's saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So being a new director, what kind of challenges have you come up against? Because I am the director at my gym, but I feel like maybe it's because I own the gym that it's not so hard. I've been in the industry forever, but man, I can't imagine walking into it without having that and kind of coming from a different background. I see the benefits. Like you are going to be the best person to have those conversations with parents. But like, what challenges have you faced?
Yeah, great question. I'm not afraid to ask questions, right? I don't have all the answers. I've been around. I was fortunate enough at both of the gyms that my daughter was at to become friends with the coaches and the owners at both locations. So I kind of got to see some inner stuff go on, but it's much different sitting in this seat now and asking those questions, figuring out how I can help support the coaches, right? What they need each season with the score sheets, the teams, what it looks like, parents, right? I mean, I am very sympathetic, and sometimes I really have to take a minute to step back and realize that where the parents are coming from. And when I get bombarded from it, it can be super overwhelming. But really just making sure that all of the little details, right? You don't understand how much goes on behind the scenes with lesson planning, signing up for competitions, making sure the rosters are right, that things are paid for, choreographers coming on time, just all those little details. Planning and making sure that you have everything set beforehand is super helpful, but can also be very overwhelming. And so planners have been my life, making sure I pre-plan and I have them in my calendar so I'm taking care of them beforehand. It's an asking, right? You've been a great resource every single time I've had questions or I'm not sure what this looks like or how I can help my coaches grow because this industry changes so much.
Yeah.
It's hard to make sure we're taking care of our families, but our coaches as well.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of the things that you mentioned that can be overwhelming, like, guys, that's the day to day.
Yes.
That's the hard part is like for parents who might be listening, like that is the day to day life of an all-star director. Then throw on top of it, this kid is moving now in the middle of the season, or this kid quit, or this kid's grades aren't good, so mom is pulling her, or this kid has an injury and has to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, or this coach is moving. Like, we're in a military community.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, she got orders. I've actually had a couple of kids who did tryouts with us who we've already found out they can't cheer this season now because they have orders.
Yeah.
Then you add this other layer of like people, and there's a dynamic there that makes your job even a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, it is. You never know. I feel like you have to be super flexible, right? And go with the flow. I have my list of to-dos in the morning, and sometimes they get done because other things will happen, and other times I feel super successful, right? And I accomplished all of my goals. So
that's a good question. When you are, like, I feel like the director, sometimes the front line of like, we're out there handling, whatever issues arise. How do you get it all done?
That's a great question. I think I'm lucky if I get it all done, right? Finding that balance, having 3 kids still at home and making sure my family is the priority, right? And my family is taken care of and not just the gym is really difficult. And so there are some days where it doesn't all get done and I just have to be okay with it. And then there's other days where, I prioritize and make sure I know what has to get done. And I don't schedule meetings for that time of day, or that day is just, I need to get the to-do list done. And sometimes that's easier to do when I'm not at the office, because when I'm at the office, everyone has questions, everyone needs something. So just making sure I know what has to be done. And then those other things, if something else pops up, then it will go on tomorrow's to-do list.
Yeah. And I think that most of us are overly ambitious with what we can accomplish in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
I find it pretty rare that I have a to-do list that's done and I'm like, well, I've got 2 extra hours. I wonder what I should do for the day.
Absolutely. I think there's just always a long list of things to do. So you put it out there and you hope for the best.
Yeah. So you're also doing a lot of management in the gym, managing. Tell me about that. Because it goes beyond All-Star Director, right?
Yeah, definitely. Our gym has quite a few different programs. So we have a summer camp program, we have a ninja program, we have a developmental tumbling program and cheer program as well. And then front desk. We have 2 locations. So managing both of those, making sure our front desk staff knows what's going on. Things change quickly, updating all of them, making sure we have staff for Ninja if we have someone sick or if a car blew up or, I mean, you never know what goes on. So making sure we have someone coaching classes. So managing all of that and making sure my leaders in each of those departments have what they need from me as well. And when they feel like they have what they need from me, it's helpful because they can accomplish what they need to and don't need my help as much.
Yeah. Now, have you had positions in the past where you've been in charge of organizations or departments or things like that that have led you to have these kind of skills?
Yeah. I've been blessed in the aspect where I've started somewhere, whether it's been this gym or my last position, where I just wanted to help. I wanted to be a part of whether it was what my kids were doing, and it's just grown into the positions I've ended up having. So before this position, I was a children's pastor at my church, and I just wanted to serve kids, and it just grew from there where they were like, we want to give you the tools and we want you to lead this group. And it was super awesome to be a part of that. And I was super grateful. And so I am a very organized person, having kids at home, right? Managing your family. I like the organization. I like helping. I like learning. I like when I don't know, I will go find the answers. I'm not afraid to ask.
Yeah. So having that sort of organization, sometimes I think things in the industry are sprung upon us that are a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Score sheets change, age divisions change, competitions switch venues. Like, what kind of things coming into this position have surprised you about All-Star that as a parent, maybe you never would have seen, but now as a coach or a director, you're like, oh man, that adds a new level of chaos sometimes.
Yeah. I think you have to be flexible, right? If you get set into this is the way it is and this is the way it's going to be, it can throw off everything, right? So I think just making sure I'm flexible and always staying up to date on things to make sure that our gym is current, our kids are current, our coaches know what's going on. I think that's just been the biggest thing for me.
And you're in an area where you guys have competed both score sheets in the same season.
Yes. Yeah. Last season we competed United and Open. We're going to switch it up a little bit this season to see how that works for us just with our industry and the gyms around us. We're getting pullback from one score sheet from producers coming, and we have a lot of the other. So we're going to see how it works out this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Stephanie, last question here.
Yeah.
What kind of advice can you give to other people who are coming into your position, maybe new for the first time, into managing a program?
Yeah. I think don't be afraid to ask for help, right? Your coaches are there for a reason, and they have a lot of success and understanding from other gyms, and asking them, right? Asking your other department leads, not even just in All-Star, right? In other departments, because everyone has such great experience other places, and you can pull from those to learn to make your program fit the best it needs to be for you. So I think just not thinking you got to have all the answers, right?
Yeah.
I think when you don't ask those questions and you don't learn from other people, it gets stagnant. It stays the same. And that is not what this sport is.
Right.
It is forever changing. And I think learning and growing to make sure you're serving your community and your family's the best way possible, it's going to come from everywhere, whether it's your parents, whether it's your other coaches, and even your kids, right?
Yeah.
Your kids can have great feedback. So make sure you just keep asking those questions.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions, before we started recording this, that you were like, well, how do you get the ideas for like Pro Shop and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't. I figure out what are the teenagers like, and that tends to be
Which
what
makes
we do.
sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we want them to wear it, why don't we ask them?
Yeah. And so I love that, getting ideas from all these other people and your parents, the parents in your gym. I think so many gym owners and directors are afraid to ask the parents and open that can of worms. I totally think they are some of the best resources at all.
I'm not going to lie. When you and I talked about it and I asked you about it and you were like, Stephanie, do the coffee with Stephanie. Sit down with your parents. Do it team by team.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but I'm not sure how this is going to go. And it was really valuable. I had those questions. I had specific questions, so it didn't derail, right? I didn't just let them go off. I had those questions, and the feedback that I got, we probably have 6 or 7 things that came out of those that we are applying for this season.
Yeah. I think so many people get afraid that they're going to be told you're not doing enough of this or you're not doing a good job at this. One, we like have to walk into those humbly, right? Just knowing.
Because they're going to tell you that.
Yeah, totally. 2, we have to walk in knowing that not every idea will be the right idea for right now, but it doesn't make it a bad idea.
Yeah. Absolutely, and maybe their idea you can tweak and you can change to what can work for your gym.
Absolutely. And I also think sometimes my biggest weakness in those is that I walk in and I'm like, oh, we've done it before. Like, sorry, it didn't work and here's why. And I've learned over time to maybe I'll say we've done it before, but maybe there's another way I can do something like that.
Yeah.
Team tumbling is a good example. We tried team tumbling back in the first couple years. It didn't work for us. Like kids were, we had kids who were way more advanced. They weren't growing. We had the kids who were less advanced on the team that weren't focused. And so for years I was like, we're not going to do team tumbling. I've tried it. And parents would suggest, and I'm like, sorry, we tried it. Didn't work.
Yeah.
We tried it again last year, and it's probably the best thing for our program.
Yeah. You have to be open-minded. You have to be willing to sit back and listen and process, right?
Yeah.
And think about what they're having to say. And because I feel like one parent can feed off of another parent, and you can have 3 parents come up with a great idea and they can go with it, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that's super successful at your gym.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the
thank you for
Fireside
having
Chat
me.
podcast. And so crazy that you're in Warrensburg. Nobody's ever here.
I know. It was a basketball tournament, and I was like, I can't not see you. So
right.
thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.